Hey everybody, how we doing today?
Morning, everybody.
Joe here.
Kevin.
So episode 3 of The Good Place.
Yeah.
Great first two episodes. I think we've had a solid run so far.
Yeah. And the response on YouTube, I don't know if you've seen, but a lot of people are very excited we're going to be doing
Yeah.
this show. I mean, none of these episodes as of the time of recording, they've just been on Patreon thus
Mhm.
far. Because we're still wrapping up Crazy Ex-Girlfriend over on YouTube. Yeah, a lot of really positive reaction to this show. People really respond well and love this show.
And you guys are excited about it too, obviously. I mean, a lot of you guys are refraining from spoilers, but I know you guys want to.
Yeah,
A
no
lot of
spoilers.
folks are saying they're excited to see us respond to where the show goes, and that's
I can't
encouraging.
wait. The premise is unique, right? Like,
Yeah.
we've all seen a million sitcoms, right? Or
Mhm.
at least know kind of what they're about, right?
Sure.
I'm not a huge TV guy, obviously,
Sure.
but
At this point, we've seen a lot of
a lot more in the last year.
Yeah.
But there's not another show that really does this. I like
Yeah.
it's funny, but it's also whimsical.
It's
for
fantastic.
a lot of it. It's
Got a
artistically,
fantastical
yeah,
element to it.
yeah. Visually, it's unique. It's a great cast, and for sure, I've never seen a sitcom where 2 episodes in you have no idea where it's going.
Yeah, like truly, I'm kind of baffled that this is a premise for a show. It's
I
like
love it.
I don't even think I've seen a movie that's kind of set this way.
Right? Yeah, I love it. Well, I mean,
Heaven Can Wait is kind of like the closest you get to this, I would say. I mean,
I mean, really, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many times have you watched 2 episodes, 2 episodes of the sitcom and been like, you're always like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
It's like I get what this is. I get where we're going. I get what it's going to be. I have no idea with this, and I love that.
That's kind of why we're not TV guys, is because we'll watch the first 2 episodes or like the first season of something. And I'm like, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the number of series that I watched a couple episodes to,
Yeah.
like, do you have a hook number that you try
Of
to
episodes?
do? Yeah, like you go a certain amount before you're like, I'm in or I'm out.
2 or 3.
Yeah, I'm at the same.
If I watch a pilot,
and
the pilot really gets me. I know I'm going to watch the rest of the show. But if I'm unsure about the pilot, I'll maybe watch the next episode after that.
Yeah, I usually go 3 or 4 when I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, that's what we did with Ozark.
Mhm.
It was like it's a good show. Obviously,
Yeah.
I love the cast of the show,
We need
but it's like
Prozac to finish that show.
that's what I'm saying. I was like, I don't know that I want to put myself through. I mean, it just felt like that. The self-flatulation, catharsis there is like,
Very dark.
I'm gonna go suffer for a while now, and with these people who look like they are never going to enjoy one thing in their lives again.
Truly.
So
And that's not fun.
no, it's not fun. But this is get back to the point. This is a setup. Is what a great hook.
It's delightful.
Absolutely.
And all the actors are very likable. I think it helps that we have familiar faces on the cast.
Sure,
as well,
sure. Yeah, I mean, the name actors, I only knew the 2 going in,
Sure.
right? And honestly, I was trying to think outside of forgetting Sarah Marshall. I don't think I've ever watched Kristen
talked about
Bell in
that.
anything.
We talked about that.
Like, because I never watched Veronica Mars at all.
Somebody pointed out she was in Deadwood. We haven't seen Deadwood. But yeah,
She's in Deadwood?
I guess so. Yeah,
Okay.
she's in Deadwood. That's what somebody said. She has a great run.
I think I saw. I was dating somebody that was watching, and I think I watched 1 episode. But I mean, I enjoyed what I saw, but it was like in the middle. And
Yeah.
It's a serialized show, so I'm like, I am so lost.
I just know that Timothy Olyphant had to do Hitman because the show ended. He said he bought a house, the show ended, so he had to go make the Hitman movie.
Oh,
That's all that on Conan. That's all I know about Deadwood, really. So, and I don't know it's a Western, obviously, but Kristen
Right.
Bell, from what I understand, that's a dramatic show, right?
yeah. Deadwood is for sure. It's
and I
a
think
serious dark western. I mean, it's HBO.
And
yeah.
I think Veronica Mars is also kind of a comedy. So I don't know if she's been in anything serious, but this is her wheelhouse, and she's really good in this comedic role.
This is a perfect role for her.
Yeah.
For sure.
It kind of feels like the Sarah Marshall character, lesser, obviously,
Right.
maybe a little worse as a person. And I think that's fun that like obviously a very nice person can play somebody who is kind of despicable.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not even sure how fair despicable is. I mean, some of the things she did, yeah, it's like she's kind of a d bag, but if things like
D-bag's more fair.
And I think that's kind of part of the fun of the premises is like, okay, she's mouthy to strangers, right?
Yeah.
She's inconsiderate of her friends, but does that mean you deserve to suffer for eternity for being a bad person? Because I mean, it feels like there's levels to this, right?
A lot of people go to hell.
And I think that's kind of the joke, right?
Yeah.
Like, You know, when they were doing the whole video at the beginning with like the point system to getting to heaven,
Sure.
it was like very few people seem to make it. And I think it's kind of a joke. Is like most people aren't good enough for this idea of heaven that we've kind of set up. You
Yeah,
know?
and I like the idea of having a show about what constitutes a good person and not being overly sappy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's not like there's a serial killer on the show. You know, it's like
That'd be so fun.
right.
Actually.
I got into heaven and I chopped 9 people's heads off and carried them around in my trunk.
That'd be a great bit though if they let a serial killer in there and he's like stabbing people because they can't die.
Right.
They just keep respawning.
I think we're going to meet characters for sure.
I hope so. I really do.
That are not part of the community here.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's a bigger world.
You want to take a peek down below?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A peek down below, or Michael's bosses, like because at some point it comes out that she shouldn't be there, right?
It's got to.
And I feel like that there's like some fun bureaucratic stuff involved with that.
Yeah.
That you know what I mean?
It
was
seems
like
to be set up that way.
who made it? It wouldn't surprise me at all if like some secretary made a mistake in filing the cards of who goes where. You know what I mean?
That'd be really fun, actually.
Exactly. Like I can see something like that happening to where we get more characters and maybe some more really great guest appearances from actors.
I hope
which
so.
I'm here for because this show's delightful. All right, we do want to go ahead and welcome Jeremy Dion, Anna Botham, Stephen Huzik, Maria, Holly Cole Glacier, Chris Warner, Ari B, and Kaylee Pompock. I am so sorry for every one of you whose names I got wrong there because I did. But welcome to our Patreon page, guys. You really do appreciate it.
We really, really do. And if you guys are watching us on YouTube for the first time, welcome to our channel. If you don't mind hitting the like button for us, leave us a comment down below, and please hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on the new content we've coming your way.
If you'd like to see a full-length reaction to this and everything else we've watched or are watching, please check out a link in the description below to our Patreon page. By the time you see this on YouTube, we are 4 episodes ahead over on Patreon of a good place, so you can jump in there and catch the next 4. You will need to sync and watch along on your own device or streaming service. You're only going to see and hear us. We're also watching 30 Rock right now with a Patreon exclusive.
Aristotle was Plato's
That's how he's dressed for this, like he's teaching. It's totally rock turtleneck in his sport coat.
Just the result.
Are we sure we should be paying attention to these guys? It's like who died and left Aristotle in charge of ethics?
Socrates, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm sure she's the problem.
I think it is.
What brings you here?
You know, I was just in the
He's tall.
Have a great day, Tahani. Oh.
We've established that because everyone's wearing a translator, that's a fake accent she's rocking, right?
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
Even though we all arrived here at the same time, here's some dirt I put in a bowl because I'm amazing. Treat her with mutual respect.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she wants me to do, Chidi. Wake up!
I think it's weird though that you're right, that she's the one person that can pick up on the fact that this is really performative.
Well, it's probably because she's had an aspect of that
That's
herself,
true. She sees herself a little bit there, yeah.
Working hard or hardly working, am I right? Hump day.
Sorry. I've been studying your file. You're a very interesting case. You essentially only did one thing while you were on Earth.
I spent 18 years working on my manuscript.
No.
Who we are and who we are not.
No,
Pulling practical ethics and their application.
Yeah.
I think you should experience new adventures. You know, do things that you haven't done on Earth.
Where's the beef?
I don't know.
Hump day.
Is he asleep?
You know, there's really no way to tell.
How are these two soulmates?
I know, right? Like she's very chatty.
Fresh pears. It's a plant, just like your gift, but you can actually eat them. So maybe it's a better gift. Who's to say?
So, we haven't even had a chance to discuss all of the mayhem in our neighborhood yet. It's so disconcerting.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I'm actually going door to door to make sure that every single person in this entire neighborhood is keeping calm and carrying on.
Here's a brainstorm. Why don't I go with you? I mean, I would
Yeah.
love to do my part to help the neighborhood, not to mention get a little bonding time with you, lady. This note was slipped under my door yesterday. It has to be Tahani.
Okay, maybe it's not because it's too obvious at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, I really don't think she's the type of person who would write this.
She is that kind of person, and she did
No, I
write
do,
it.
yeah.
And now I'm complimenting her and kind of turned on. The point is, she straight up sucks, bro. Typical Tahani. Brings us a faulty plant so she can brag about being a better gardener.
When you're mean to her, it starts to wilt.
well, then this plant is doomed.
So all I want to do is just check
I don't know where they
see how
film this,
everyone's
but it is
holding up.
lovely, isn't it?
It's really cool, yeah.
Extraordinary people. But I think the primary reason that I'm in the good place is that I raise quite a lot of money for non-profit groups.
Oh.
I was a model, a museum curator, an it girl, and
See,
I
yeah.
was
Girl.
news for a while. That was quite fun.
Hey, babe, got you coffee.
Ah, great. Oh, Andy's coffee. We shouldn't go there. Everybody's boycotting. He's sexually harassing people. Look, a journalist went undercover for an interview and recorded him.
Dogface, you didn't get the job. All right.
Oh my
I'll
God.
check your references. Just to be.
Hey, my
nice.
breath.
I'll check
God.
Cartography.
I don't feel like that's on Eleanor. I feel like that guy's just a monster.
Yeah.
And you can map it.
But exploring makes me nervous. I have what doctors call directional insanity. I once got lost on an escalator.
Become a trailblazer.
Fun fact, all deceased members of the Portland Trailblazers basketball team are also in the bad place.
Thanks.
Fun fact, Janet is me.
All right, let's forget about exploring. Plenty more ideas
Reset.
for hobbies. Let's walk back to town.
Janet
shall
is
we?
me.
Isn't she just the nicest person?
Mm-hmm. That is what a lot of people are saying.
Oh, everyone I know is that.
Take a maple butter scone. I made them fresh this morning.
Maple butter
They
scone.
look a bit burnt.
Obviously, I like to
Journalism? I mean,
write, but I
Yeah.
don't love deadlines. I prefer to take my time with things.
You never even
In
named
18
your
years
dog,
of your-
did you? When
Yeah.
it ran away, you posted signs saying, responds to long pauses.
That's funny.
What do you say?
I'm loving that hat
hat.
on you. It would look even
Yeah,
better
you
on
did
my
look good in the hat,
feet.
actually.
oh my God.
No. No, Janet.
Johnny, darling, would you like some tea? That nod meant no, apparently.
Well, it was nice to get out and meet all of our wonderful neighbors.
I would hate that.
No,
The nose thing.
no, yeah,
thank you.
don't boot me, please.
You can get your hands a little greasy, you know, and you make things.
This equipment is very scary.
Whatever.
Blowtorch
This
your
whole thing
face
is
off.
stupid.
Oh, brother. I told her to be
Should go
less flirty.
teenage girl.
I just want to be an academic. I want to keep working on my manuscript.
See, I read your whole book, all 3,600 pages of it.
It's a mess, dude.
Hey,
I can read the entirety of the world's literature in about an hour. This took me 2 weeks to get through. I mean, on page 1,000, you start section 2 with the sentence, "Of course, the exact opposite might be true."
Existential
What's wrong?
crisis
Yeah,
in
yeah.
heaven.
In heaven.
am I a good teacher? Am I clear? Do I make sense?
I stole Tahani's diary so I could see
Wow.
if her handwriting matches the note.
It's a good bit.
Huh.
Yeah, it was.
What do you think that means?
Good. Go
You
put it back.
stole Tahani's diary.
I
like
know
the
I broke
smoky
some
plant in the
unethical
background.
rule, but I had good reason.
Eleanor.
She wrote that note.
No, she didn't. You did. That note is the good place manifesting your own guilt, like with the plant, or when you literally made giant shrimp.
Just stay in, watch a Roman Polanski movie, listen to R. Kelly, and eat Chick-fil-A.
Oh my
Does that
God.
sound good?
Shouldn't we just try to do the right thing whenever we can?
Why? It's so much harder to live like that, and it's not like someone's keeping score.
That's funny.
Okay, I'm not an idiot. I read your emails to your dad. Have fun being so amazing and perfect until you die. Good people make me insecure. When I'm around someone who I think is better than me, I try and drag them down to my level.
Well, even admitting that is an important step.
It is. Yeah,
And
I
also,
agree.
maybe don't listen to me.
I would love not to listen to you.
My life's work is 3,600 pages of garbage.
What does Michael know?
Everything. That's my point. He knows everything, and it was too convoluted, even for him.
You wrote 4,000 pages on
Fair,
one of
yeah.
the most complicated subjects in the world. Be proud.
This is actually really nice of her.
Really sweet, yeah.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't think his lessons are going to help her. I think just her trying, she will get better.
She'll get there.
That's
Let's
funny.
throw that monstrosity in the trash and start over.
I think you could probably take some
Aren't maybe
ideas out of it.
parts we're salvaging.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't.
That's fine.
There's probably a ton of research in
I
there and
know.
everything, though. Yeah.
He's like, honestly, man, I don't even know.
Right.
Do you want to talk about it?
Desperately. I just can't seem to connect with him. I know that he took a vow of
Right? That's
silence.
what's coming. Yeah.
He won't even talk to me, his soulmate.
You are an impressive, thoughtful, and special person. You have a rockin' bod. I mean, Jianyu may be mute, but he's not blind. You have all of eternity, so there's plenty of time for things to change.
Oh, thank you. I really needed to hear that. Come here.
See, she's gotten 2 hugs here.
Yeah.
Hugging.
Yeah.
Hugs are nice.
Looks like someone learned something.
It's because someone else is a really good teacher.
Janet has been acting as my assistant. It's not what she was designed to do. It didn't go great.
But now I'm back to normal.
Eleanor, you and I could work side by side to figure out what's going wrong with this neighborhood.
How could I say no?
It's like Knives Out.
Like Knives Out, yeah.
Also, it's actually somebody else doing it. I'm kind of curious who this is.
Relax, Eleanor.
I've been
What?
waiting for you.
Jianyu? You talk now?
You don't belong here. Admit it. Because I'm not supposed to be here either. I don't know how I got here. I have no idea what's going on, and I am freaking out, homie.
Homie? Is he not a Buddhist monk?
Apparently not. I'm freaking out.
Okay, I did not see that part come. I thought he would.
It'd be hilarious if he was a monk or something, but a Buddhist monk is saying "homie" is
Yeah,
really funny.
right, because of the translator. No, I kind of get the sense that he's not a Buddhist monk.
Probably not. Honestly, he's probably not a monk at all. All right. Well,
That's interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so all right. Each episode ends with a cliffhanger, so you're kind of like, "What the
Right.
heck?" You know.
I love it.
So if those two aren't supposed to be there, then obviously there's more people that aren't supposed to be there at all.
Here is my guess, and I was just thinking about it while you were saying that. So this could sound like I may sound like a moron here, right?
Okay.
What if all 4 of them aren't supposed to be there? Because you've got
cheating.
You've got
Wow.
Well, the only reason I say that is because of how this episode went.
Mhm.
Is like this guy didn't do anything at all with his life except make this Michael says like you've literally done nothing else with your life besides try to write this philosophical work, and you did a bad job at it.
At least that was his life, though.
Right.
You know, like we know that was him doing that.
No, it was for sure.
Eleanor's there because they think she's somebody else.
Right.
Obviously, they must think that this guy is somebody else too, unless
What's his name?
Jahani.
Jahanu. Right. And then Tahani shouldn't be there because I feel like she is a performer. The rich woman doing performative. Look at me, I'm doing charity.
That's
stuff.
what I'm saying.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
and we really haven't seen anybody else's life besides Eleanor.
Right.
Outside the good place, so Chidi could very well not belong there.
I'm gonna stand on that. I know it sounds silly, but I think the simple fact that I don't know if he actually, we were talking about, we were talking on this episode, like he didn't lead an immoral life, but remember, you have to do positive things to get those points.
Sure.
And he didn't do anything, which means his number, I mean, it may not be negative because he's not doing awful things, but he might have like a 0 number. Like what are the positive things that he's done? I think
talk about ethics, I guess.
Yeah. But I think that's the idea is like he seems, in the first 2 episodes, like the perfect candidate to be there.
Sure.
Someone who cared about ethics and morals, but only from an academic sense we kind of see here.
Yeah.
And he didn't really do anything. So it's kind of like, well, when they were showing that video in the first episode of the lady that had like that huge positive number that actually got into heaven, it's like, how would he have a big positive number? He hasn't actually done anything good. He just hasn't done anything.
I like the idea of somebody writing a book on ethics and morals that is an awful person. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think he's an awful person.
Right.
But I just think he's been a non-person.
Sure.
And that's probably why he doesn't belong.
You have to live your life.
Right, yeah, exactly. If he didn't live his life, I mean, like I said, he's a guy who couldn't even decide what to name his dog.
Response to
prolonged silences. That's pretty solid. But clearly, I really think the 3 of them we've learned
probably aren't the best people.
Probably shouldn't be there. But I'm going to go ahead and be like, well, if 3 of the 4 in this 2 couples are not supposed to be there,
round up.
Yeah, right. Why wouldn't the guy who didn't ever do anything positive with his life at all not fall into that group too?
Outside the group, maybe even there's probably people that aren't supposed to be there because it seems like Michael's system is not foolproof.
I think you're right, and I think
the Janet thing is a big giveaway,
and that may be what we find going forward. Is it's like, wait a second, the system doesn't work that you've made because you've let multiple people, kind of through the cracks who probably shouldn't be there for one reason
Michael's
or another.
not great at this.
Yeah, Michael's not great. I mean, it is his first time.
That's exactly. It's his first time. I like the hints of the like the chinks in the armor of it being like oh my goodness. So Janet's malfunctioning, and also Michael doesn't know everything.
Michael doesn't know everything, right? He seems oblivious, right?
So this could actually, down the road, this could actually lead to something very interesting.
Sure.
I mean, the cracks are there.
Right. I think that's kind of fun. It's like Michael builds this perfect heaven for everybody.
He's not God.
Right, he's not God.
He's just the architect.
And it's completely flawed. I love the idea of it being completely flawed and almost arbitrary who gets in and who doesn't.
And he doesn't, right? He doesn't really understand what human bodies or what it means to be a human,
Right.
So that's kind of fun. That's really interesting. The show just keeps adding more layers to it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of nuance we're definitely not getting yet from the show. And honestly, I think there's a lot thematically you can do. Like, there's a lot of lessons here in the idea of what constitutes a good person or a bad person.
Yeah.
And certainly how we judge other people, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I think it's a lot of fun and really, really smart. And again, we're 3 episodes in, and this show can still go a billion different directions,
Truly.
And the only thing I'm really confident in is that whatever it is, we're going to get it wrong, because we usually do when we guess too far out.
Also, ethically and morally, like, I like the bit in the middle of the episode where they're talking about the coffee shop owner,
right?
And she's like, "Okay, well then, like, we're just not going to go to this hockey game because they have DUIs. We're not going to watch the Polanski movie. We're not going to eat Chick-fil-A." Like,
I mean, there's some hypocrisy there with some of it, right?
A little bit, but also like, because you enjoy certain things that are made by people that are awful,
right?
Does that make you bad?
Well, no. I mean, let's face it. In our world, if you were going to take those stands, I mean, the guy made a point like, no, we should try.
That guy sucked. Like, for the coffee shop guy.
No, he did. But I mean, her boyfriend or whatever is like, we could at least try, because there is no way, right? Mm-hmm. You couldn't buy Coca-Cola or any number of sorry, not attacking Coca-Cola, but I'm just saying, like, the things that almost all corporations had to do to become massive corporations.
Yeah, people who run corporations aren't great.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I watch Disney movies, right?
Sure.
And the guy running Disney is a monster who doesn't want to pay any of his.
Disney was an anti-Semite.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, if we really want to break it down,
right? The guy screaming, "We can't pay our writers or our actors," makes over $100 million a year in compensation. You can't, there's nowhere to go, right? If you can't listen to certain music, you can't watch certain movies. Sure. I like some of Kevin Spacey's movies,
I do too.
But I don't pretend like the guy's not an animal. But if you can't. If you're going to be a consumer of only morally pure things, you're not going to be a consumer of anything.
I think it depends on your comfortability, I guess, because it's so we were talking about this literally on Christmas. I was driving back home and I had a long conversation with a buddy of mine, and we were talking about The Usual Suspects. Right. He's like, "Can you still watch that?" He's like, "I get kind of weirded out when I watch it."
Yeah,
you have the double whammy of both Spacey and Bryan Singer.
Bryan Singer, right?
And I'm like, I can. I'm like, but with that cloud hanging over it,
right?
It's a little weird. But also you have to separate the art from the artistry.
And I think that and some people don't, and I think that's completely fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I have not forgiven Chris Brown. I don't listen to R. Kelly music.
Sure.
Because it's like it's hard, right?
It is.
But I was flipping channels over around the Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
And there was a Cosby Show marathon on one of the cable channels.
Great example.
And it's like, you know what? I don't watch it, but I'm not going to hate someone else who does, because you have to find your own line of there's a big difference between watching the Cosby Show and being Bill Cosby, and I really hate the fact we try to lump all of it together.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, if someone likes Michael Jackson's music, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he's got really good music. But I can't, like with Usual Suspects, I can't listen to it without thinking about that. It's there. I can't watch Louis C.K. do stand up, and he's got funny stand up without being like, oh, and also this guy's been kind of a monster in the past.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest one for us was probably Chinatown. We both love that movie.
I love Chinatown, and it's Polanski, right?
I think we can separate it though.
Right, you can.
That's the one example though, but it is hard. Like, it's a tough situation.
I think it's enough to know, like, awareness of it, the people who don't tear down our statues of the Confederacy.
That's different.
It is different.
It's different.
But it's like the response has been like, great, let's put them in a museum where you can go see them if you
don't
want
destroy
to.
It, just
let's put a sign on it that says exactly what these guys really were, and then we're totally cool with it.
Yeah.
But don't pretend like they're not who they were. You
exactly.
know what I mean? Yeah. You can't call Robert E. Lee a patriot.
You really can't.
Right.
It truly is the opposite.
Right. Exactly.
These things aren't black and white, and I like the show. I hope the show is ultimately going to reach that conclusion.
Obviously, getting back to the show, there are moral gray areas, and I feel like Chidi hasn't figured that out yet, and I feel like that's why he's also someone who's has a lot to learn. And I think one of the things you're going to learn is that there are not always just moral absolutes.
And I think when you live a life that is sheltered and contained, you can't always understand that.
Yeah, blinders. He's got blinders on for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like Eleanor might be getting lessons on ethics. Like academic lessons on ethics from him. I think he's going to learn some things from her too about like
they're opposite ends
humanity. They are, and I think there's middle ground they need to meet at because I think they're both wrong, and that's why I think Chidi might not belong in the good place either.
But we will see.
All right, let's see. We got a couple seasons to find out. Sorry, guys, we rambled there. We will catch you on the next one.